Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby and today I'm going to be talking about books that I have no intention of reading. As someone in the book community, I read a lot of books, but oftentimes there will come a book that I just have no interest in reading or a genre I have no interest in at all. Today I am super excited to discuss some of those books with you in this anti-TBR tag. The anti-TBR tag was created by Nicole and her books, so I will link the original video down below. Before talking about all the books that I have no interest in reading ever, I would like to preface it by saying that I mean you no offense if one of your favorite books is on this list. Reading is all about personal preference and taste. Just because these books may be of your taste, they may not be of mine, so just be cognizant of that and remember everything that I say is in good fun and I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. So the first question on this tag is, what is a popular book everyone loves that you have no interest in reading? So for me, that is pretty easy. A popular book that it seems everyone and their mother loves is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Taylor Jenkins Reid is a historical fiction author, mostly focusing her works in the 1900s, and both of these books have been very big successes in the book community as well as, in pulp culture. I believe one, if not both of these books have been opted for a TV show or a movie, and they're just really popular books, but they are not really in my taste. I have been reading a lot more historical fiction lately, but that historical fiction has been placed in the 1800s, and I kind of just have no interest in the 1900s. I've heard great things about these books. I've heard that they are well written, well plotted, they have good characters, but they just doesn't really appeal to me. So it's nothing about the book's actual content, it's just that the plot and the story don't really seem like something I would enjoy right now. I say right now because, as all opinions, this is subject to change. So it might be in 5 or 10 years I look at it and decide I want to try it out and I may love it. So it is always subject to change, but as of right now, it is not a book I see myself really enjoying or being able to get through. So these two are definitely books that are extremely popular, but that I have no interest in picking up. The next question in this tag is, what is a classic book or author you don't have an interest in reading? So classics are definitely an acquired taste. There are definitely some classics I absolutely adore, but one classical author I never really see myself reading is Leo Tolstoy. Leo Tolstoy is the author of, I believe, War and Peace as well as Anna Karenina, and both of those books look very intimidating to me, and I don't know if I will ever be in the mood or be brave enough to pick them up. These books are beloved by so many people and I have respect for the author and for his works. I just don't ever see myself being like, oh yeah, today I'm just gonna casually pick up Anna Karenina and War and Peace and read those. It's just not something I see myself doing. I haven't even seen the movie for Anna Karenina, though I do really want to because I love Keira Knightley, so maybe I'll do that. But this is definitely a case where I think I'd prefer the movie to the actual book, and maybe after seeing the movie I'll change my mind, but as of right now, both those books look scary big to me and complex, and I have no desire to pick them up at all. So definitely Leo Tolstoy is a no for me. So the next question has a little bit of tea in it, and it is, who is a problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading? So a problematic author whose books I have no interest in reading is Emily Duncan, who is the author of the Wicked Saints series. Recently, she's been getting a lot of backlash on Twitter for participating in a group that bullies BIPOC authors, which is horrible, and apparently her instances of racism both on Twitter and in her actual books is something that's been going on for a while, which is horrible, and I have no interest at all in supporting an author who says or does hurtful things. So Emily Duncan and her series are just never something that I ever will pick up. Even before all this stuff came out, I wasn't really interested in Wicked Saints. I had heard it was kind of a knockoff of Shadow and Bone, so I was already not really into her work, but now knowing all that I know about who she is as a person, I am very happy I never decided to pick those up and will continue kind of boycotting her and her actions because no author should bring others down like that, especially those in a marginalized community. So Emily Duncan is definitely someone who I will be canceling from my TBR from now until forever. The fourth question on this tag is, who is an author you have read a couple of books from and have decided their books aren't for you? This one actually might be very controversial to you guys, but an author who I've read a few books from but really don't think they mesh with me is Maggie Stiefvater. I so said her name wrong and I'm so sorry. I really don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Stiefvater? Maggie Stiefvater. I read the first book of the Raven Boys series. The first time I read it, I didn't like it and I stopped reading it, and then I decided to pick it up again and I was like, okay, it's better the second time around. So I read the second book in the Raven Boys series and really disliked it and decided to not pick up the rest of the books because I found that her writing style and her characters and that specific story just really weren't for me. In the past, I've also read another series by her called Shiver, which is about werewolves, and that also just wasn't really great. I read all the books in that series, but it wasn't really for me. I gave them kind of like medium to low stars, and I've just found that after trying quite a few of her books, she's just not an author for me. And I know a lot of people really love her series and her books. They just didn't work well with my taste. So in this case, I'm aware it's a matter of taste. So yeah, Maggie Stiefvater is just not an author I see myself reading in the future or trying again anytime soon. We just didn't click well. So it's not her, it's me. The fifth question in this tag is, what is a genre you have no interest in or a genre you tried to get into and couldn't? So a genre I kind of have no interest in is self-help books. I am someone who is extremely anxious all the time. I have diagnosed general anxiety disorder, social anxiety disorder, and panic disorder, and I have found self-help books don't do anything but make me mad. I don't like that this person, that this writer thinks they have my life figured out and that their techniques will work for me. I have just found most of the time that that is not the case. I would rather see my therapist for any issues or my psychiatrist, but I just don't think I'll ever really get into self-help books because I just don't believe that there is a cure-all, that there is one single method that will cure all of my troubles, because there are so many self-help books saying different things. So how can you really ever know is my question. So self-help books are just not something I ever see myself reading. If they work for you, that is amazing, and I hope that they work for you. But as someone who's just been through so much therapy, I just don't see how some lifestyle celebrity gurus' advice on life is going to help me at all. And I know that that is not true of all self-help books, that some are written by professionals. I just think that help is better when it's tailored to you and you alone, because every person is different. So that's kind of my little bit ranty view on self-help books. The sixth question on this tag is, what is a book you have bought but will never read? This can be a book you have unhauled / returned to the library unread. So I actually am planning to do an unhaul later this month or next month. An unhaul is coming because I have way too many books. But one book that will be in that unhaul that I have never read is Shadowcaster by Cinda Williams Chima. So this is the second book in the Shattered Realms series, and I bought it after I had finished the first book, Flamecaster, because I was really determined to get into high, complex fantasy. And I read Flamecaster and it was okay, so I bought Shadowcaster and I never picked it up. As time went on, I just had less and less motivation to read this book, and now I think I am at the point, like 2 or 3 years later, where I have to admit to myself I'm never gonna read this book and I'm never gonna finish this series, and that this specific high fantasy series is not for me, and maybe I should try a different one, because I didn't love the first book that much, definitely not much to like continue with the series. So as much as I really wanted to like Cinda Williams Chima because she is such a staple author in the high fantasy world, her books I don't think are for me, and I would love some recommendations on high fantasy series that you think I would enjoy down in the comments. But Shadowcaster is the book that I have bought and never read and will be unhauled later this month. The seventh question on this tag is, what is a series you have no interest in reading or a series you have started but DNF'd? So I actually have a very popular series series as one that I have started and then DNF, and that would be the Shatter Me series by Tahera Mafi. I read the first book in this series. I read Shatter Me and I loved it, and then I just never picked up the second book, or I did pick up the second book and I didn't like the direction that it took, and I just stopped, and I kind of, at this point in my life, have no interest in picking it back up. So I did like the first book, I just don't ever see myself finishing the series, and it is a long series. I feel like she keeps coming out with new books for that one, which is fine, and it's always great to expand the world. I'm a big fan of series going on longer than they were supposed to, but it is a series that I have started and then ended up DNFing just because I had issues with where it was going and also kind of forgot about it. So that is Shatter Me for me, and I know it's a very popular series and that a lot of people love it and the ships in it, and I also got spoiled on a lot of the stuff. That was also a big thing. I kind of knew a little bit about what would happen with the main character and her love interests before going into the book, and that kind of skewed everything for me while I was reading it, so that was another big aspect of why I stopped. But yeah, this was a very long way of saying that this is a series I have DNF'd and have no intention of picking up again. So the 8th and final question on this anti-TBR tag is, what is a new release you have no interest in reading? So I actually, oh, it's right here. Perfect. A book that is being released soon that I have no intention of reading is The Queen Will Betray You by Sarah Henning. I have the first book right here. The first book is called The Princess Will Save You, and this is a Princess Bride retelling. I loved the concept of the book. I thought it was very interesting, but I didn't really love the book itself. I think I gave it maybe 2 stars. I just didn't love how the plot worked, and I thought it was very complicated, and the ending of the book kind of ruined it all for me. I was like, okay, maybe I'll read the second book, and then I read the epilogue and I was like, nope, okay, I'm done putting this down. I just did not like the direction that the author decided to take it. So when this sequel comes out, whenever it comes out, I will not be continuing with the series because it wasn't for me. And I think I went into it with such high hopes about a Princess Bride retelling. I was so excited, and then was just like, I was too high. I was too excited. It let me down, and that's okay. I will not be continuing with this book. And that was the anti-TBR tag. No one tagged me in this, so if you feel like doing it, I tag you. And I had so much fun talking about books that I will never pick up today. Be sure to leave your responses to any of the questions down below. I would love to hear them. And if you disagree or agree with any of my choices, also let me know down below. I'd love to have a discussion. I love talking to you guys about books. It is one of my favorite things to do, so let's get talking in the comments. And that is it for this video. So if you guys enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Hit the notification bell to get updates on when I post. I post every single week, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, love you all.
Wayward is my fickle heart. Where would I be if it weren't for your grace, your strength?